If you hate your job, what should you do? I'm going to hopefully change your mind about a few things in this video and give you some insight in terms of what you might want to consider to do if you hate your job. And the answer is probably completely counterintuitive, that you probably never thought about before. I'm a professor of business and I think about this all the time. I do something that is tough. I do a research career is very tough, and a lot of people struggle with this. So what do you do if you actually hate your job? And the answer that a lot of people are going to give is that you should be more passionate. You should invest more time. You should really go down and sort of push forward in it. And I think that's complete opposite of what you should actually do. I'm going to give you something that I think is interesting. I want you to create a wink and a nod club. And what is this thing? What am I talking about? What is a wink and a nod club? This is, and it might be just you that has this, right? This is where you internalize a private little club. Maybe you actually create a little group, and that would be really wonderful to see that. You create a little group where it's just you, and you folks have an inside group where you give a wink and a nod, where you know what the kind of secret is, and you understand the sort of bigger secret to how things actually work. And I'm not telling you to be destructive in anything like that, but where you have an inside perspective, where you're looking at things and you're saying, I don't know if I agree with that, but this is what I would do, and I am going to go forward with this particular thing. And this kind of wink and a nod club, why is that actually important? What I'm getting you to do is think about how to separate yourself from the actual work itself, where you think about, okay, I am going to operate a little differently than how people, the sort of standard way of doing things. And I'm going to be solid inside, and I'm going to actually take a step back, and I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to try to make this as enjoyable as possible. So I'm going to look for ways that I feel good inside. So I'm going to practice those particular things within this wink and a nod club, where you go around and, hey, maybe you've got like silly little jokes. Maybe if that's with other people, or you got silly little jokes in your mind, or you have rituals that you do where you are separating yourself from the actual work, where you actually are not experiencing the work itself. So in creativity research, there's sort of two streams of research. I think the insider-outsider group perspective is quite important. We often need an identity to affiliate with different groups to feel like we actually belong to something, and sometimes we just don't belong to something. So it's really important to think about that. Now, on the other side, in creativity research, we have this thing that's about flow. What is that idea? It's basically where you get into a state where you are no longer yourself. You don't experience the world as kind of like a physical world. It's kind of, if you're thinking in terms of counseling research, for example, that get you to think about your senses a little more, to ground you in reality. So I want you to get into that state where you are getting into a group where you just kind of see the world differently. So if something bad happens to you, you make a kind of a joke about it. If something is just not working that great, where you're like, oh, well, I know my perspective, and I'm going to keep doing this thing because I think it's actually the right way to actually do this. The idea is to make sure that you are building a wall, a boundary between you and all of the nasty things that are happening. Because I know that lots of people have jobs that they might not necessarily be easy to move from. Now, I encourage you to sort of pursue all the opportunities, but sometimes that just doesn't happen. It doesn't exist. Maybe you can't see those. Maybe you're just not there yet. Maybe you're in a small town. You have to find ways to escape. So a lot of professions, a lot of people go through this where they find ways to escape. One way that I used to do this back in the day is to whistle when I was working, right? Like physical work sometimes encourages you to do things like that, where you create a tune, you're singing, where you're creating a little club in your head or with other people where you feel good about the experiences that you're going through. And I encourage you to figure out these different ways to detach, to make it goofy, to smile, to really feel good as you are doing it. And it's all about this sort of sense of detachment from what you're trying to do. And you're standing up and you're just saying, I am not going to go down that route where I'm going to absorb all of that stuff that's going on. And I'm going to live a peaceful life inside, where I'm going to practice things where I feel good inside and other people feel good when they're around me. But the only way that I can do that is where I have a wink and a nod club, where I go about and I have inside jokes with some people, or I have inside jokes in my mind where I think, I don't know, that person's kind of goofy. And, I kind of don't pay attention to that as much. Now, I'm going to tell you that I struggle with this all the time. It's hard, right? Like, it is very, very difficult to sort of get up and get going. But the more that you can create this imaginary world where you are distancing yourself, you're part of your own identity, and that identity is healthy, right? Detachment is healthy. There's lots of work that is just not fun, not exciting. It's mindless. So getting into that state where you are like, okay, let's just make a game out of this. Let's make me the hero in this game, where I feel good about myself and I try to pass on goodwill to other people despite what is going on. And I encourage you to try that. I encourage you to try this wink and a nod club. Start building, if not with yourself, right? And you could figure that out with yourself. That's pretty easy. But then you start building with other people, where you're part of the wink and the nod club, where you're walking around and you know and they know how things actually are operating. And it's kind of fun when you do that. All right. Take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.